This is the video on how I lost 22 pounds last year, and I literally just ate pimento cheese dip that I filmed for y'all, so I'm doing great at the upkeep. Gonna help me? Please? Oh no, you don't want a kiss? Okay. I've been obsessed with iced coffee lately, making it with coconut milk. These were the Yetis that we got at the Super Bowl. Well, they're not really Yeti, but they're like a Yeti. See the little... And then it says Super Bowl 52, which we won. That was a great experience, so I love this one. A lot of nostalgia. So I wanted to go ahead and show you now what I look like. I weigh like 120 to 125 pounds. Like, it just fluctuates depending on what I eat that week. That's my normal. Okay, so in this video I'm going to be very honest, and I'm going to talk about the things that I personally experienced that even made me gain the weight in the first place. I feel like if I'm going to talk about it, like, I want people to get the full benefit, and maybe it will help those of you who are trying to lose weight. Well, maybe the females. I can only speak for my body type, but I didn't even tell people that I was trying to lose weight. It was like a whole process last year that I really like dedicated myself to, and I never told anybody about it. I didn't want to say anything until I reached my goal. That's just kind of like the type of person that I am, so I kept it very quiet, very low-key, and then I reached my goal, and now I feel like, okay, I can talk about it. I actually think posting it the other day was the first time I've mentioned it, like, on my social media. So yeah, I really want to go ahead and tell you guys like my tricks, and I know this may only have worked for me, but if I could help anybody out there, like, I definitely want to. So I'll just like start from the beginning. When I graduated high school, I weighed like 118, 120, and I maintained that weight up until 2018. So around 2018, during, I think it was like spring, I switched birth controls, and I know that this affects everybody differently, but I'm telling you, like, I started that birth control, and I think it was like maybe 4 months later, like, I was 22 pounds heavier than what I was. I got on the scale and I weighed like 142 pounds, and I remember just thinking, like, because I knew that I didn't look the same, and I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, like, how did this happen? What happened? My eating hadn't changed, like, my habits hadn't changed. And I was so confused, and it clicked in my head, like, okay, I switched birth control. And I know a lot of people talk about this and they say, okay, like, yeah, but give yourself some months and your body will regulate and you'll... So I gave it a few months, and like, nothing changed, and I actually just was starting to feel not like myself. Like, my clothes weren't fitting the way that I was used to. I didn't look the way I used to. I know, like, the average person would probably have looked at me and never thought anything, never looked at me and been like, oh yeah, she's gained 20 pounds. But just when you know what you're used to looking like and you know what your body's normal is, it feels really like crappy whenever you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what happened. I don't have control over my body, and this just happened. So I made a decision that I was going to dedicate myself to losing the 22 pounds, and getting back to where I felt my best for my body. And I knew that my eating habits, like, if we're being honest, they weren't the best. Like, I am not a picky eater. I'll eat almost anything. But in one day, back then, I would have started my morning with like a Starbucks coffee, and it would have been like a caramel macchiato or something like that, which I didn't realize how many carbs and calories that was in that drink. Like, I had no idea, but that's how I would have started my day. And then for lunch, I would have maybe had like a sandwich and a sweet tea, or a burger and a sweet tea, or a hot dog. Like, in college, I loved chili cheese dogs, so I would eat that for lunch with like a sweet tea and chips, like, never thinking anything of it. And then for dinner, I would cook a lot of pasta and bread, and just a lot of mac and cheese or mashed potatoes. Like, I just cooked a lot of carbs, and I never was like so curious of like the carb intake and the calorie intake that I would eat in a day. And if you add up like the drinks that I had, like, just with the Starbucks, a sweet tea, I'm still obsessed with cherry limeades from Sonic, but that's a treat now. I would drink all of those in like a day, and that in itself was like way too much for me. So, and sugar, like, my desserts, oh my gosh, like, I'm just a food person. I'm a foodie. I love to eat. I genuinely enjoy food. And so I knew wanting to lose the weight that I was going to, one, have to switch back to a birth control. So I met with my OBGYN, and I told her my issues, told her what I was facing with, or what I was dealing with. And she basically was like, we'll work with a regimen to get you to like back to how you want to be. And knowing that that birth control wasn't working for me, so switched birth controls. That was step number one. The next thing that I did was cutting out all sugary drinks. Like, that was coffee that had sugar in it, that was sweet tea, that was lemonade, like juices. Like, so many drinks have so much sugar in them and you don't even realize it. So what I would do was I would have like a coffee with like coconut creamer, like coconut milk creamer, and or like sometimes I would just do like an Americano from Starbucks with like a little bit of half and half, but very minimal. And I really started to train myself to like things like that and not to crave like the super sweet stuff. I don't want to be drinking my carbs. Like, it's just not worth it to me. So I made that adjustment right away. I noticed that I started to get really obsessive about it at first, and I would get on this scale every morning, and I would look at it and I would like analyze it. And if it was 1 pound, heavier than what I was the day before, I would stress myself out. And so I decided to get rid of the scale, and I told myself I was not going to get back on the scale until months later, and I was just going to go on how I felt that I looked, and basically just go off of that and not worry about the pounds, because I didn't want to stress myself out like that. So I put the pounds aside, and I measured myself with inches. So I got like a little measuring thing, and I measured my waist, my butt, my chest, my shoulders, like my arms. Like, I did my arms, my thighs, because like for me, I know everybody kind of shows weight in different places, but for me, the first place it goes is like my hips and my butt, which is great when you're maybe 5 to 6 pounds like heavier, but when it's like 20, it starts to go somewhere else. So it was here first, and then I noticed it in my arms, and in my face. And when I noticed it in my arms, I was like, okay, yeah, that was where it was like the hardest for me, because even if I wasn't in a bikini or something like that, I still felt it, and I didn't like that feeling. So I knew at that point that's kind of what triggered me. So I measured my body, knew exactly what my inches were, and then I wouldn't do that every day either. Like, I would do that maybe every 2 months just to kind of check in and see if I was making progress. So then after that, I figured out kind of like what I wanted my new routine of eating to be like. So my mom was on this journey with me, and she was like, we should take ketones. And I was like, okay, whatever at this point is gonna help, like, yes, I want it. So she got me hooked on these. These are keto, like instant ketones. And basically what these do is they help your body, like when you're in ketosis, that's when your body is burning fat. And for me, I don't want to go into too much all that because I don't know the science of it, but I know that that's what it does. And these just help your body get into it. So like, there's these little packets, and I would do these twice a day until I got closer to my goal weight. I would do these twice a day to, boost my weight loss. So I would do it like first thing in the morning, which is nice because there's only 45 calories in this. So I would start with this in the morning first thing. And then I would maybe have like a coffee around maybe like 11. And then before I went to bed at night, I would have one of these. So these are really, really, really helped me. You can get these little like sticks that you pee on. I know this is, we're gonna be very real. There's these little sticks that you can pee on, and they will tell you what level of ketosis your body is in. So like when you're burning fat, and it gives you motivation to keep eating the way that you're eating, because if you eat any sugar or any carbs, it will just knock you out of ketosis, and that's just not worth it. When you see that you're burning weight and you know that your body is in ketosis, it will just give you the motivation to keep eating that way. These were really good for helping me not crave things, and I still keep them because I love them. I had heard all about like intermittent fasting like right around this time, and if you haven't heard of intermittent fasting, I highly recommend you research it and you figure out kind of what your schedule would look like with it. But basically you want to go, I think it's like, oh gosh, like maybe like 13 hours. I'm not really sure. I'll look and see, but I think it's a lot of hours that you want to go from when you are done eating at night until you eat the next day. So like for me, what I do is I'm done eating by 9 o'clock and I don't eat until 1. And I'm not a breakfast person, so that's very easy for me. Like, it's very easy for me to wake up in the morning, especially if I, was having my ketones. I would feel full from that. And then if I had a coffee, you basically want to stay under 50 calories. Anything over that with like carbs and sugar or something like that could break your fast. So I would have my coffee closer to 1, and then do my ketos in the morning. So I'm more of like, I would rather eat something at 8:30 at night and then be done by 9. A lot of people would rather eat at 11 and then be done by 7. So it just really like depends on what fits your schedule. And then I limited myself every day to under 50 carbs a day. And you would think like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know. When I found out that I was going to limit myself to under 50 carbs, I didn't even know what that looked like, because I didn't even know how many carbs I was eating before that, like in my normal schedule. So I found a way to basically calculate how many carbs I was having. So I would start like, I'd have my first meal at 1. So I would do like avocados, tomatoes, cheese. Like I love cheese. Cheese is low carb. You can have that. I would do that. I would do like a lot of prosciutto, or just stuff like that. You can even have bacon. Like I had bacon, and I would just kind of make myself like this little tray in the morning, celery, and I would have that ready for at 1 o'clock when I was ready to eat. One of the things that I was not aware of before starting this journey was what types of fruits and vegetables are high in carbs. And it's not really something you think about, because you think, oh, fruits and vegetables, they're healthy for you, but if you're trying to lose weight, you want to be cautious of which ones you're eating. So like I used to eat corn a lot. Corn is pretty high in carbs. Like you don't want to have that. Beans are pretty high in carbs. Obviously potatoes, sweet potatoes, stuff like that. They're higher in carbs for when you're trying to lose weight. And I'm not like a nutritionist, so listen, I'm just going off of what I know and what my research said. So you definitely want to figure out what will work for you. But I just avoided all of those. Or cottage cheese. I ate a lot of cottage cheese. So that would be like what my first meal was like. And then for dinner, I would do like sausage, peppers, and onions over cauliflower rice. Or I would do grilled chicken breast. I love grilled chicken breast. Or anything like that. I would pick like a protein, and then I would pick like vegetables. In this process, like I was saying earlier, I love food. I'm a foodie person, but I just kind of adjusted my mindset to think like, I can still be that way. I can still love food. I can still enjoy food. It's just going to change, and I'm going to try new things that I would have never had before. I was like, I'm adjusting my lifestyle. That has to be something that you really take into consideration too, because you don't want to have to go through this process like multiple times. So I would go to a restaurant, and when they would set bread down, like before, I would have like, oh, I still love bread, but I would resist it, because even one bite makes it harder. So I would resist it. And my go-to thing was like a burger with no bun, because it was filling. You could have, all of your condiments on it. You could have toppings on it. And I was staying lower carb, and that was easy because a lot of restaurants offer that. So that's what I would do. And I still eat my burgers like that now. Like In-N-Out burger, protein style, like that will change your life. I didn't even know that it tasted as good wrapped in lettuce as it does like on a bun. I would give myself like one cheat meal a week, and I wouldn't do like a cheat day. It would be like one meal. And for me, when I was doing this process, I was in Philly for most of the time. So there was like a pizza place. There is a pizza place that like, it's the best Neapolitan pizza like I've ever had. And that was my go-to cheat meal every single time. It never changed. And I would go and I would have my pizza and I would have a Coke, and I enjoyed that, and that was like my one cheat meal of the week. I started to notice like in my arms they would feel smaller. The biggest thing that I noticed when I was losing weight was when I always put my hands like right here, and I could feel like it being more defined the way it used to feel, and that was like so encouraging to me. I remember being like, oh, I'm so excited. Like the next time that I actually got on the scale was, I think it was October. and I had to go back to my doctor to basically just have like my, you know, wellness checkup. And I walk in there and I forgot that you have to get on a scale there, and I just wasn't prepared for it because I had already I was in Philly and I flew home at like, I had like a 5 a.m. flight, and I landed in Dallas at like, you know, 7, I think it was like 7:30 or something like that. And I went home and I had my keto. I had a lot of water for breakfast. You know, if you're ever hungry, like a lot of water will help you through it. So I had basically just already had a lot of stuff, and then I had lunch, and then I had my appointment. So I got there and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've already eaten a lot today. I've already had a lot of liquids. I'm really like, I don't want to do this, but you know, you have to. And I stepped on the scale at the doctor, which weighs a little bit heavier. You know, I always feel like it weighs a little bit heavier than, you know, whenever you're at home. Was 126, and I was just like, I was so relieved. I felt so good about myself. I was like, oh my gosh, like I've already eaten today. I just, that moment was like so awesome, and it was so surprising, and it really just like, that set my day, like that made my day so good. And that was the first time I got on the scale in like months, because I really would have like driven myself crazy, and I wasn't expecting that. So then, you know, of course, Thanksgiving and Christmas came around. I was not as strict on myself as I had been, because, you know, it was holidays and I love food, and like, I don't know, for my family, like food is a way that we celebrate. It's a way that we like love, and it's just a tradition to eat. So I was like, I'm gonna enjoy that, and I'm gonna enjoy cooking, and I'm gonna actually make, you know, the things that are tradition in my family and not feel bad about eating them. So I wasn't as strict on myself. I think it was maybe like the day, it was like a couple days, I think, before Sid proposed, which was close to my 22nd birthday. I got on the scale and I weighed 121, and I was like, I'm back. Like it has worked. I'm back. My intermittent fasting, I still try to eat lower carb. I'm not as strict about things as I used to. Like, for example, now I'll eat at 1 and I'll have something lower carb. So it's like, if at dinner, if I want something that has a little bit more carbs in it, like I'm gonna eat it, because I know I'm still fitting, you know, in that healthier lifestyle. And after a while, after I started to change my eating habits, I found that if I would eat carbs, I would just feel sluggish. I just would not feel as good. I wouldn't have the energy that I had before. I just literally, I could actually feel the difference. And I was never that person before. Like, I would eat that way all the time, and I didn't even realize that I probably was not feeling my best. Now I'm like I'm really conscious of it, and I can tell a big difference whenever I load myself with unnecessary carbs. There are a few things that I want to show you guys, like food that really saved me and made this possible for me, because I'm one of those people, like, it's very hard to cut out certain foods. So I'm gonna go get those, and then I'll show you guys the food that basically like saved me. Okay, I'm back with my life-saving foods that basically made it possible for me to eat low carb, because there were some things that would have just been really hard to cut out, like cut completely out. And not all of these are something that you eat every single day. They're just kind of like, if you have to have it, you want this one. So this is the first one, because this is the most important to me. I still keep all of these in my pantry because I still do the same eating that I was. This is Sara Lee Delightful 45 calorie bread. This is the 100% whole wheat bread. Y'all, this tastes the exact same to me as like regular wheat bread. Like, it tastes the same. And I'll tell you guys, so it has, in 2 slices, the serving size is 2 slices, it has 90 calories, and it has 19 grams of carbs, but it has 3 grams of fiber. So basically what you can do is, if something has carbs but then has fiber, you can subtract how many grams of fiber there is from the carbs, and that's basically your net carbs. So this was like super good. That's in 2 pieces of bread, which is like amazing. But look for the one that says Delightful 45 calorie bread, because it's lower carb. And if you have that, like, a lot of times I wouldn't even eat 2 pieces of bread. I would just eat the one. And that's so easy to stay under 50 carbs a day whenever you can eat that. So this is the number one that I recommend. Okay, this is number 2. This is not one that you want to eat like every day because it's still a little bit higher in carb than what I would want to go. But it does fit under my, if this was the only carbs I ate in a day, this would fit under the 50 carbs for me. This is Dreamfield's Healthy Carb Living Pasta. This is the only one I have in my pantry right now, but they come in like spaghetti, linguine, like angel hair. You can find it in all different types of pasta. But this one has 5 grams of fiber, and okay, so let's see. In 2/3 cup, there's 190 calories and 41 grams of carbs and 5 grams of fiber. So basically you would just subtract that like what I told you, and that would be your net carbs. And y'all, this saved me too. Like, I have put this in casseroles. I have made this like I even now I cook with this anytime I make pasta because I'm just trying to be more cautious of it. Unless it's like, okay, like Sunday where I'm cooking for people, then I'll use like the really good stuff. But I make this a lot, and Sid can't even tell that it's low carb. Like, he doesn't even know. So this is really good. You can order them online, or some grocery stores have them. My grocery store has it, my mom's doesn't. So you'll just have to check and see. This is really good. Okay, next that I couldn't really make it through without is dark chocolate thins. These come in a bunch of different like sizes, and also a lot of different brands make them, but basically it's dark chocolate with almonds and sea salt. And like, I have to have it with the almonds and with the sea salt because it makes all the difference. But like this, I eat this, like I'll just get a little piece and eat them, and I'm like good. My craving for sweet has went away. I actually have my sister hooked on this now too, so this is a good one. My mom got me this one for Easter, but these are really thin. So you can get ones that are thicker and you can get some that are more thin, but this was a good brand. So I don't know where she got these, but I'll link it in the description box. Okay, next one are these little cheese wisps. These are 100% real cheese. There's 13 grams of protein, 1 gram of carbs, and 0 sugar, and they're also gluten-free. They come in different flavorings. Like, I love the Parmesan and I love the Asiago pepper jack. The cheddar one I didn't love, but that could just be my opinion. These are great. They're like little round baked pieces of Parmesan, I guess. You can buy like a block of Parmesan cheese yourself, and you can like grate them or shred them and bake them in your oven yourself, and you can make them yourself. But these are just super easy, and they get really crunchy. Like, you can bake them in the oven, but it just doesn't get crunchy like this. Alright, this one is one that I recently found. I didn't have this the whole time, but these are I didn't even know that they had these. Like, I just saw them. I'm gonna be really upset if they've been out for a while and I didn't know. But these are the Mission Carb Balance Flour Tortillas, and they taste really good. They taste very close to the regular ones. Like, I wouldn't have like, if you gave me a bite of one, or like a low carb one or a normal one, I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. This one has 4 grams of net carbs, so, and 70 calories. So I mean, 4 grams of net carbs. Like, are you kidding me? Like a quesadilla, tacos, like, I just use these now and they're so good. They're so good. They come in, I think they come in like a bigger size too, but I'm not 100% sure. So I find these in my grocery store. You can probably find them there too. And then as far as alcohol goes, that was kind of like the one that was hard to figure out for me. You basically just want to stay away from anything that you would mix your drink with. Like, I am a big like Henny and lemonade or Jack and cranberry, but those juices are higher in carbs. So you can do like the White Claws, I know, or you can do like the Corona ones. They have 0 carbs in them. Like, that is so good. Like, and they're really good. So you just have to find, I'm sure there's other options out there. Obviously, if you take like a shot of alcohol, that's like fine, but it's harder to find alcohol that is lower in carb. And I know now how my body responds to food, and it has made me want to eat healthier because I feel better. And I have gotten really creative with things, and I found ways to, you know, have the same dish that I'm craving in a low carb way. Another one that I don't actually have here with me right now, but that I highly recommend is cauliflower rice, because you can buy them in the frozen section, like by the frozen vegetables. You can find, it's like, I don't know if it actually says cauliflower rice, but it says something like that, like cauliflower medley or something. Just give yourself that time to adjust your habits and know that the results will happen. If you suspect it's something like hormonally or something, then I recommend you going and getting that checked out just to be sure that everything is good, and then you can really make the lifestyle adjustments. But as far as working out goes, I work out some. If I'm being honest, like I wish I loved to work out, but I haven't just gained that love for it yet, so I'm trying, but working out was not really a process in me losing weight. So I think now losing the weight, I'm more motivated to work out, because I'm like, okay, like my waist is small, like I could tone this up fast, you know. But I just had to get that extra off of me, and now I'm more motivated to work out. So I hope you guys found this video a little bit helpful, and I just filmed a pimento cheese dip video for y'all too, so I ate some of that, and that's not low carb, but I didn't eat too much of it, but oh, it was good. It was really good. So just try to only have things in your house that is lower carb and healthier for you, because it's very easy if it's there to eat it. So I'm gonna have to take that to my cousin so I don't eat that. But all right, I hope you guys liked this video, and I'm excited to make more. I have more videos I'm working on this week, so I will get them up. All right, see ya.